Welcome to the Live, Love, Learn podcast, and I'm your host, Catherine Edwards. Today, I'm giving you a little teaser of what's in store in the upcoming episode number 15, Are We Being Hypnotised? I'm joined by the lovely Danielle and Nirmala from the Single Truth podcast, and we talk about what hypnosis is, how it affects us and those around us, and how to overcome it. I really think you're going to enjoy this teaser, so get comfy, stay curious, and stay free. So when we're talking about hypnosis, obviously, again, a lot of people think of that as an individual thing where you go for a hypnotherapy session, perhaps to quit smoking or to change some aspect of your life or get over a fear. But what you've explained so well is this hypnosis that's happening on a collective level throughout whole areas of society, and also in terms of the fact that most of us, when everyone knows, I think most people listening to this are aware that in their early childhood, 0 to 7, you're in a different brainwave state where you are effectively taking on information in the same way that we use for hypnosis. To me, the big question is how much of this is an agenda by world leaders to achieve a certain aim, and how much is part of the way humans behave anyway. What can I do to control my behavior? It's all about awareness. Once you know that, it's this good old saying, once you see it, you can't unsee it. So this is why I think education and awareness and speaking about these things as much as we're actually allowed to is so key. Because if you want to set good boundaries, which I agree with you, Nirmala, 100%, it's absolutely at the crux of everything. But you do need awareness of some of these things. There was another pussycat arrived. There might be. Coco, come on, darling. There's not room for two of you. Look, isn't she? Danielle's got a Coco too.
I do.
So I find it really, really fascinating about bringing it back always to what can we do as individuals. And as you were saying, Danielle, about how powerful we are to control our external circumstances, but then also making sure that keeping aware and curious of what is going on. Because if you're not aware of manipulation and as an adult how we are still continually being hypnotized, it's very difficult for you to then recognize and do something about it.
So it's not just an individual human experience, even though it is a collective human experience that came through, right? It's because of the shift of the earth, and we speak about it a lot. Yes. So when the shift happens, the experience comes. Not everybody is ready to say, okay, I'm going to graduate now. I'm learning from this. I'm going to jump. No, it's not going to happen. Every individual, every community, every state, every country, has got their own geometrical sequence, and they got their own influences that's happening in that space. So each personality has to work within their personality. So it's like not everybody's a fighter. Some of them will just give up. I've got a disease, that's it. They'll keep repeating it like a pattern, the hypnotized agent that I'm talking about. But there are individuals who have a very strong understanding of how the geometry is not pulling them. They will step out of it and understand that I have to do something now. I have to go beyond my body. I have to go beyond my mental body of consciousness to now come out of it to understand that this is not the truth.
The way that life unfolds, it's unfolding in a way to wake you up to what you're hypnotized by. Because if you're not learning the lesson, you're going to continually just run into things. And I think the anxiety people are feeling, it's interesting. I had a teacher, I'm all about analogies. It just makes things click in my brain. So she said the example of running from a tiger, right? Which is like the quintessential example. Okay, I'm in fear, I'm in fight or flight, I've got anxiety. What she said is, in the modern world, what's happened is that we opened the door for this tiger and we just let it sit in the room with us. Because we have, things coming on through television, things coming through social media, things coming from family members, things coming from friends, things happening at work. we're inundated with so much information that it can like fear sells, right? So it's easier to talk about things that are more intense because it's engaging, it's like, it does engage us. We're like, oh my gosh, we're just like, I don't know why we're all programmed that way, but we are. So it pulls us in. And I was talking with a friend, she said her kids don't want to drive. And I mean, I'm 34. Okay. So getting my license was like, I was waiting. I was like, let's go. I'd save money to buy a car. I mean, it was like, I was ready to drive. And she said, no, Danielle, it's like a thing these days. Kids don't want to drive. They're so anxious about what's going to happen because they've just been instilled with all of the problems that could occur, when they get behind the wheel. And I thought, holy cow, like, again, some sort of like hypnosis these kids are under. And I don't know where it's coming from. School, I have no idea, but it seems to be around enough that like the tiger's sitting in the room all the time. And then you add on top of that, the way that social media feeds us things. My news feed looks very different than my boyfriend's news feed. And it's always so interesting to look at the two and go, wow, like, no wonder that's always on your mind. And this is always on my mind. Like, it's being fed to us.
When you're a mother or you have responsibility for something else in your life, for me, everything changes, because if you've got a child, let's take an easy example, a human child rather than all my furry children. But if you've got a human child, you're making decisions for that child way before they're even born. Right. Way before. You're making decisions about what you're eating in pregnancy, your stress levels, your lifestyles, what you're going to do with all sorts of medical interventions, the birth, if you're lucky enough to have a choice, all sorts of things. So it's a fascinating thing where like now I know what I know about the hypnotic state of under 7-year-olds. I probably would have parented very differently for my children. So my husband and I joke that we've just got a big counselling fund for them. I hope you enjoyed this little snippet of what's in store for the next episode, Are We Being Hypnotised, as much as Danielle, Nirmala and I love diving into the discussion. I can't wait to share the full episode with you, so make sure to subscribe, follow and turn on notifications so you don't miss out. If you like this snippet, I'm sure you'll love my previous episodes, so do go and listen to those, share with your friends and family. You can also find me on YouTube, BitChute and Rumble. You'll find the links for those below. All your favourite podcast platforms, and my 2 websites, katherineedwards.life and katherineedwardsacademy.com. Please do find me on Instagram, as that's where I share a lot of my motivational tips. Thank you.